John Carpenter movie about 1979. That's the first time I worked with him, and we shot that up in Petaluma and Inverness and Ray's Lighthouse, Point Ray's Lighthouse, and Bodega Bay, where Hitchcock shot The Birds. And he was always kind of playing homage to these other horror movie guys. John Carpenter was. The Fog was a lot of fun. I think Jamie Lee Curtis was about 19, and the first day on the set, when I got there, they said, Tom, this is Jamie Lee. Jamie Lee, this is Tom. Get in that bed there and do that scene. And it's kind of always the way it is in those kind of things. If you have a scene with a pretty young thing, that's the first scene you do when you meet each other. You don't even get to know each other. You get in the bed, take off all your clothes, and you do the scene. But The Fog wasn't really about that scene. She's hot. Yeah. When I did Creek Show, which you saw a little bit of it there, it was in the very beginning and the very end of that. It's like the setup for the comic book. I wouldn't let the kid read the comic book. And the kid was played by Stephen King's own son, Joe. And there was a moment in there where I had hit him, and, well, sort of smacked him. And I looked at Stephen and said, what do you think? Do you really want to do it? I could just hit him with my fingertips and it'll look good, but you know, and he said, oh yeah, hell, I hit him all the time, go ahead. He was real sweet. The first question Stephen King asked me when he came on the set of Creek Show, I had already done The Fog, and he asked a question like that about Jamie Lee. About her, and I said, yeah, what do you think of a happily married guy? He said, well, you know, she's pretty hot. Escape from New York was the second one that I did with John Carpenter. A nice thing about that, we grabbed a shot that kind of serendipitous. I was up here doing something else in New York, and we were about to start that. And he called me up and said, you're in the city? I said, yeah. He said, we're going to come up and grab a shot of you at the Statue of Liberty. And we did. We got the Park Service to ride us out there in one of their little boats with the camera and a guy to operate the camera, and John, myself, and that was about it, a sound guy, I think. They had me coming down the steps at night around the ramparts at the bottom of the Liberty with her in the background. It was great. It's a wonderful opening shot of the movie. I think it's the opening shot, as I recall. And that just kind of happened. We were lucky to all be here at the same time to do that. And they had Sepulveda Dam. I don't know if anybody knows about LA. There's a Sepulveda Dam out in the San Fernando Valley, and that served as supposedly the base of all the police operations. And Lee Van Cleef was in it, a great guy. He's died since then. He was wonderful in it. Halloween 3 was the third one that I was associated with John Carpenter, though he didn't direct that one. Him and Deborah Hill produced it. Tommy Lee Wallace, his best friend at the time, directed it. And Tommy Lee had always done the art direction on the movies before The Fog and Escape from New York. And he directed Halloween 3. A lot of people don't, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers, so they're not as keen on it as the first two. But I thought it turned out to be a pretty good film. Stacey Nelkin was sweet in it. Another healthy girl. Get in that bed. Jesus. Where is she now? We don't keep in touch. Escape from New York, though, was a lot of fun to shoot again. We went up to Northern California for some of it, but most of it was shot in LA. But some of it was shot up in Northern California, the Jet Propulsion Lab up in the hills above Pasadena. You know, oh, The Fog, another thing. So they did part of it up Bodega Bay where Hitchcock did his stuff. And they did the scene in the church where the guys come out of the fog and attack everybody, the big ending of the film. was shot in a church up in the hills above Pasadena, where Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that same town, in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original one in the 50s, where you see the guys pull up in the truck in the town square. I think it's Santa Maria or Santa something like that, in the hills above Pasadena. Anyway, we shot the church scene up in that same town, because Carpenter likes old horror movies. Why didn't he hire me to be in The Thing when he did the remake of The Thing? I don't know. My very favorite, though, of all the ones that I've done is Night of the Creeps. It was the silliest, most fun movie I think I've ever been in. Whenever anybody ever asks me what my favorite one is, that's the answer that always comes up. A guy named Fred Dekker wrote it, directed it, and he did a great job, and he's hardly done anything since, and I cannot figure it out. I also don't know why it had such a short life. I don't think the people did a very good job distributing it. I think it ran for about 2 weeks in New York and 2 weeks in LA and hardly anywhere in between.
It plays on TV all the time.
Does it really?
In Canada at midnight they play 2 versions, one with a different ending.
Oh yeah.
Spaceships come over top and they're searching for the things. And then the second ending with the dog and the shoes and they don't play that one. They play this other alternate version and it's always on midnight. Like
I know I fall dead in the cemetery.
Yeah.
In one of the endings, and things come out of my head and body. So,
the one they always show is you're in the house and all the things come at you and then drilling and then
I love doing that. Duct tape works for everything. Put that on. I'm amazed at the way this is the first one of these things I've ever done. I am amazed yesterday how many of you came up, or some people who aren't here probably who were here yesterday, come up and knew all the lines in the movies that I much better than I ever knew them, even when I did them. And also have incredible still shots and publicity shots from the movies. I never get any of those when I do the film. I was surprised to see some of them. It was really great. But I love that movie, Night of the Creeps. We did almost the whole thing shot on USC campus just south of LA. And a little bit of set work on a little production company down there in LA. But we didn't go anywhere out of town to do it. The best line, I think, of the whole movie that was here on The Thing, well, girls, I got good news and bad news. Good news is your dates are here. What's the bad news? They're dead. We just made that up on the day. Fred and I talked about it, and we come up with that on the day. He wrote it, and we did it. Dick Miller, a guy who's in every horror movie ever made, he took care of the armory in that picture. I don't think I killed him, did I? I went after him with a shotgun and threatened him. And he gave me what I needed, a flamethrower and a few other items. So, yeah, I didn't kill him. I died in so many movies myself. Well, that one too. I think they had to bring that one back. They had to bring Ray Cameron back. He was a good guy. You guys have any questions? Sure. What, they had to make a sequel to that one? No, I don't think so. I think it was kind of a one-time shot, you know, where it didn't really have anything to do with the ones that came before it. It was kind of disconnected, didn't have anything to do with anything after it either. I doubt that they'll ever do it, you know, a sequel to it. Yeah?
I've been waiting for a relationship film. What can you tell us about Bruiser?
Well, Bruiser, I thought was a terrific film, a kind of a departure for George. It's very un-Ghoul-like. There's no, there's some gore in it, but not his usual level. It's a good story, good mystery kind of story, a revenge story. A guy who gets walked all over, gets his payback to everybody who walks on him in a terrific way. He had the Misfits in it, a band. Yeah, there it is. They were great. We had this wonderful kind of big party dungeon scene up at this whiskey distillery in Toronto that they use for every kind of horror movie. Do you own it or something? Yeah. Ah, but it's got a great set for this thing. They're about to get rid of that place, though. I think so many movies are shot there. But we did a wonderful big party scene there with the Misfits playing the band, chasing the bad guy around, good guy, bad guy. I play a cop in it, a fairly ineffectual cop. I don't capture anybody. I chase somebody all day, and I don't get anybody at the end. But at least I don't die. I survive the film, so if there's another one, maybe I'll be in it. It's Lionsgate has it. I don't know why they haven't done anything with it yet. It was a little while after it was finished before Lionsgate picked it up. I understand from what I hear that it may go straight to video in the fall. I don't know that it will ever be released. Lionsgate has it. Call them up, ask them, you know, say, hey, why not? It's a terrific movie, some good people in it. I don't know why it hasn't come out. A couple other films that I did in the past year, two of them, a thing called Out of the Black and another one called Turn of Faith. Not horror movies, but I wish they were. Well, they might turn out to be. They didn't shoot them as such, but one shot in Youngstown, Ohio with Boom Boom Mancini, a former welterweight champion of the world. It was his money, and he gave himself a good part in it. Three guys that grow up to be a priest, a mafia, and a cop. So we'll see how that turns out. It should come out in the summer, sometime this summer. I think it was played up at the film festival in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago. The other one, Out of the Black, is kind of a scary film, not a horror movie as such, but another kind of revenge movie that shot in Pennsylvania and should come out also in September. So Charlie Durning was in it. Good actor. Any other questions? Yeah.
If you could play a role, what role?
I'd like to do Ray Cameron, the guy in Night of the Creeps, for about 5 movies. That'd be so. I like him. He's a good guy. I play a lot of cops and I play a lot of bad guys and I get killed a lot. And Ray Cameron is my favorite. I really liked him. I thought he had a lot going for him. He was a good guy. Yeah. The bad guy sometimes is more fun, only because you get more freedom to do goofy and weird things and hurt people in dastardly ways. It's kind of fun. Yeah?
Can you tell us a little bit about how you prepare for a role? I mean, are you a method guy?
No, I'm not really a method guy much. I just learn the words and show up, try not to bump into other people or furniture and say the words. Because most of the roles that I have to prepare for I don't think require a whole lot of preparation. A couple of things that I've done though that haven't been in the horror genre. Lemon Sky, a wonderful piece that I did for PBS with Kevin Bacon. I played his father and he played my son, based on a play by Lanford Wilson called Lemon Sky. And that was, you know, I was in almost every scene and with him, and that took some preparation, getting used to, and some rehearsal time with him, getting to know him better, to appear more like a father and son than just showing up and getting in that bed kind of thing. Yes?
Did you know that at the time you filmed it, the Lethal Weapon movie become a big series that they had?
No, I don't think anybody did. You know, here's an oddity about that. Well, I died in the first one, so I couldn't be in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, whatever they do. But while I was doing Night of the Creeps, Fred Dekker's best pal at that time was Shane Black. Who I didn't know him from Joe Blow, but he was around the set all the time. and he always wore black. And his name was Shane Black, and he always looked black. He was so depressed all the time. And standing around drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, enjoying the shooting of the film with his friend. But he said, and I said, what Shane, what's the matter? And he's from Pittsburgh too, where I grew up. And he said, I got this movie, they got it over Warner Brothers. I don't think they're ever going to do anything with it. And it's, you know, Lethal Weapon. And there's you can play Hunt Sacker in it. He said, I'll give it to you to read. So he did. And I thought, well, this is a good film. Somebody will do it. And they did do it. But at the time, he had no idea if anybody would ever shoot it. And it turned out to be one hell of a movie and a big, it set a, you know, it was kind of a trailblazer. It did go on. What do they have? 4 or 5? How many? 4. Yeah. Richard Donner, who directed it, was great. Kind of an old-fashioned Hollywood sort of guy, stood around smoking cigars all the time, would talk to anybody. Anybody come up. Difference between him and John Carpenter. John Carpenter was always kind of very secretive and quiet, never said anything, wouldn't talk to anybody, just shot what he wanted to shot, but wasn't a very personable kind of guy. And I think it's reflected somewhat in his films, because he's good at rubber and special effects, not so good at interpersonal relationships. But this Donner guy, he would just talk to anybody. Neighbors on the street when we shot at Palos Verdes were Gary Busey come up in the helicopter and shot me with French doors, my back, my eggnog. And we were at this house shooting the scene, and neighbors would wander in and say, you know, how you doing? And they'd say, what are you doing? You'd tell them all about himself. And it'd have, everybody was invited to dailies at the end of the week. And they had champagne and beer at dailies at the end of the week on every Friday night. It was a real, very relaxed kind of fun party atmosphere. And Gibson contributes to that too, because he's a bit of a practical joker and a fun guy, and loose and goose on the set.
Growing up, who influenced you?
Geez, I don't know. Good question. I don't know. You know, I didn't really get interested in acting or being on stage or in movies until I was in college after I got out of the Navy. So I didn't really pay attention. I think Jimmy Cagney, Spencer Tracy, those guys, maybe. Yeah, them. Although there were some odd movies, you know, when I was a kid that stuck in my head. There's a famous old film, it's Stairway to Heaven, it's called. David Niven is in it. It was done in the 40s during the war, and they were an aircraft crew coming back from bombing Germany, and they get shot down, and everybody on the crew dies, except him, who washes up on shore in England, and the crew goes to heaven and says, well, where is he? He didn't come down. And they get sent back down to get him. And they had special effects where he is getting better and playing ping pong with the girl at the table, you know, and it would stop. His guys would walk on and talk to him, and she's still there with the ping pong in midair. And I don't know, I was 7 years old or something like that, 8 years old at the time, and I thought, wow, it's so great. It was kind of a fantasy death movie. That one I remember a lot. But people, I guess, Tracy, Cagney, guys like that from a long time ago. Yeah? Me too. Me too. I hooked up with it because Adrienne Barbeau was a pal of mine. She met John on some TV thing, I think, that he did. And she started dating him. Well, Halloween then came out. We went to the premiere of Halloween, or a screening of Halloween. And she's just started dating John, and my wife at that time and her girlfriend are on either side of me, and we're watching. It was wonderful. I thought it was just wonderful. But they're doing this stupid cover thing, you know. Can I look at it? Yeah, go ahead. So at the end of the evening, my wife said to me, "We can't let Adrienne marry this guy. Any guy who can direct a movie like this, she can't marry." But she did marry him. And that's how I got to know him, through her. And he had known my work from before then, and that's how we started doing, you know, the Fog, Escape from New York, Halloween 3. Like that. Fred, I just ran into on an audition. You know, I got called in to meet with him for it, read for it, and he liked me and I liked him, and we did it. In California, another Northern California shoot. We shot in a little town outside of Eureka, and everybody stayed in Eureka for the most part, up above San Francisco. And somewhere in the middle of the second week, I got the worst flu. I could hardly walk, and I had to run down the street chasing I don't know what. And as always happens in that kind of thing, you got to do it 10 times, you know. Now, Sinatra wouldn't. He would have done it once, and that would have been it. But I had to. That's the thing I remember more than I think was the first thing to come out of my mouth. Yeah, being sick as a dog. Stacy Nelkin, remembered her. She was nice. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't have a lot of memories of it. Yeah.
Do you have any bad feelings about doing Halloween 3 without Michael Myers in it?
Never occurred to me. No, because it didn't have anything to do with Michael Myers, so I didn't care about Michael Myers one way or the other. I didn't have any bad feelings about it. It was a job. It was something to do, and I enjoyed the work. And we had a pretty good time doing it. No, I didn't think of Michael Myers. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Who would you find to do a sequel? You know, Deborah Hill, I don't even know if she produces those kind of things anymore. Talk to John Carpenter. You know, it's you're not the only guy. There's a number of people, a lot of people who it's their favorite. But as far as a sequel, I'll call him up. I'll call John and say, hey. Yeah. Night of the Creeps was my very favorite. We had more fun doing that film. We shot it in LA, down at USC, pretty much on their campus down there, just south of LA. My favorite line in the movie, "Good news, bad news, girls, your dates are here." What's the bad news? They're dead. We made that up on the spot that day, just winging it. It was a wonderful film. I don't know whatever happened to Fred Dekker. Does anybody know? The guy that wrote it and directed it? It was his first thing, and I thought it was terrific, but he kind of disappeared. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I started in this stuff coming up to New York, working theater, doing a couple of movies, The Detective with Frank Sinatra, The Island was Path with Barbra Streisand here in the city. And after about 6 years around New York and doing regional theater and Broadway and Broadway, then I moved out to LA and just did a lot of TV and movies, most of what you know. One of my other favorite jobs was doing a Xena. They flew me and my wife and my son out to New Zealand, and I did Xena, and it was good fun, a lot of fun. And they asked me when I went over there, could I ride a horse? I said, no, I don't ride a horse. I don't know anything about horses. They said, oh, well, that's okay. So when I got there, they said, here's your costume, try it on. It's a little bit of leather and stuff. And then they said, come on, we'll go know. And as far as I know, nobody was ever interested in doing it. John Carpenter and Adrienne Barbeau were married during that time. They split not too long after that. That might have had something to do with, not being interested in doing number 2. It was a fun story, a kind of a ghost story. They're hard to tell on film, I think. Yeah. Oh, you think Cameron? Oh, he was a great character. Yeah, I don't know what. I understand from a couple of guys that there were 2 endings. I never really. I saw one. I think where I dropped dead in a cemetery and things run out of my mouth and stuff, or out of my dead body. But there was another one about the dog or something. I never saw that. So I guess in those kind of movies, though, the guy can always come back. Cameron, he can survive that. As far as I know, Fred Dekker still is in LA doing TV and stuff, but I haven't heard much about it. Yeah. Night of the Creeps. Yeah. It was just pure fun. It was, kind of silly. It had bad special effects, little rubbery, wiggly things that they tied fishing line onto and then pulled them across the floor and people would react to them and put them in the person's mouth and then pull them out and reverse the film so that it looked like they were leaving in their mouth. That kind of stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Just terrific fun. Sure. Oh my God, The Ninth Configuration was a film. This fellow asked about the movie The Ninth Configuration. It was also called Twinkle Twinkle Killer Kane. It was a movie by, God, what's his name? That's it, Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist. But he couldn't get anybody to finance Twinkle Twinkle Killer Kane. So he sold his house in Malibu for half the money, and Hungarian Pepsi Cola put up the other half of the money. And he thought to get the best movie possible, he would take 22 guys to Hungary for 3 months. The making of that movie would have been a much better movie than the movie turned out to be. Though the script was pretty good, I don't think Blatty got it up on the screen. It's okay, but I just think it missed a lot of places. But having 22, another reason all the guys went over there for so long, he thought it would make a better movie, more ensemble acting and everything. But everybody thought, well, what the hell, we'll be able to go to Russia, we can visit Russia, we can go to Prague and Czechoslovakia, we can go to Paris, we can go to Germany on the times that we're not shooting. But he decided, I think there were too many extracurricular drugs coming in from Austria by the Hells Angels, who were all around the set all the time over there. And he decided to put up a call sheet for the next day at midnight the night before. So you can never go anywhere. So everybody just stayed in the saloon and drank all the time in the hotel for different bars around town. We got to the point where Tom Shaw, the production director, had to come around and knock on people's doors and beg them to come down and get on the bus to go to the set. It was silly. Jason Miller was there. Oh, big fight between the Zaire ambassador and Jason. It was fun. It was great. The making of it was great fun, but the movie itself wasn't very good. I don't know. Halloween 3. Some people like Halloween 3, some people don't like Halloween 3. I know the kid with the mask isn't in it. It doesn't have anything to do with it. You still thought it was all right? Yeah. It was a real departure. Again, John Carpenter didn't direct it, but his pal, Tommy Lee Wallace, did. They grew up together, and Tommy was a set designer and stuff, and art director. But, it had that little ding-a-ling-a-ling melody that went along. I thought it was scary and kind of weird, fun. What? first two. That's for sure. Yeah. I brought everything to that camera. I love the DEKKER camera. I thought it was great. You know, there's an old, there's a fellow who's in every horror movie ever made. Yeah, right. He was the keeper of the weaponry, I think, that I had to get down and get the stuff from. And it was great meeting him. He's a terrific old guy, nice actor. It was good. No, I really like the DEKKER camera, yeah. He was close to me. Oh, thanks. Well, I'll tell Fred, you know, somebody's going to have to do another one of those.
How come they didn't bring you back for a sequel in LA?
I don't know. I think because John Carpenter and I have kind of gone our separate ways. We used to be pals, but we're not much anymore. We don't keep in touch. I think that's basically it. I like his wife Adrian better, his first wife. She's an old pal, she's a good old friend. And of the two of them, I'm friends with her and I'm not friends with her. Yeah. Misfits. The Misfits, while we were shooting Bruiser, they had this band in the movie, if you ever get to see it, called the Misfits. And they're great. They're like Kiss, sort of, only weirder. A lot weirder. But you know what? They all live in kind of upstate New Jersey, in a little quiet, placid, farmy kind of place. They're very unlike what they are on stage and performing and appearance. They're terrific, yeah, they were wonderful. And then we got to see them when they came to Pittsburgh. After we finished the movie, they came on the tour and stopped there, and we got to see them there. Good guys. Sure.
Usually, Carpenter talks about shooting fog twice. You were part of the first version, or?
If he shot it twice, I don't know where he shot it. I thought he only, you know, we only did one version up there in Bodega Bay and Petaluma, all around the same area that Hitchcock shot The Birds, those many years ago. And Point Reyes Lighthouse, gorgeous country, Inverness, up above San Francisco, about 200 miles. I think, maybe not that far. It's really beautiful country. And we did the entire film up there, a little bit on set down in Paramount in LA, but most all of it was on location up there in Northern California. It was a bitch trying to get the fog to work, to be frightening. But I never heard of that he shot two versions of it. I only know the one. In Night of the Creeks, I spin around on a turntable, just screaming and firing, emptying the gun. It was Fred's idea. I thought Fred had some wonderful camera moves in that whole film. Very courageous for a young guy. I thought they were great. And that was one of them. Yeah, they just put me on a turntable, and the camera was also on an anchor with the operator behind it, and it just spun. And the room behind it was in, I think. I don't think there was anybody around yet. And I shot into a plastic screen in front of the camera operator and the lens.
Maniac Cop.
Maniac Cop! Oh, man. Maniac Cop. Jesus, I can't remember the name of the guy that directed it, but I think... Okay. I know you guys all know more than I do about this stuff. But he called me up and asked me if I wanted to do this part in Maniac Cop. I said, yeah, sure. It's a cop. And I thought, yeah, okay, so it'd be good. Well, when I read the script, I said, oh, hell, I died halfway through it. I'm not even in the whole thing. But it was, we shot all around LA, kind of low budget. I thought it turned out to be a pretty decent movie. The guy who played the Maniac Cop was an interesting guy, I think. Yeah. He did, I think there was some, he did a lot of steroid shots or something that actually kind of disfigured him in a way. Made him bigger bone looking than he needed to be. Yeah, we shot all around LA. There was okay, now you guys will know, I forget his name too, but he's been in a million movies. He played a big biker guy, bad guy. Oh man, he plays a lot of Russians. Yes, here? Yeah. We had a couple of nice moments together sitting in a bar in the movie and sitting in a bar outside the movie. It was a good time. Anything about it that you remember better than anything else? We spent a lot of time at San Pedro, hiding around the pilings and down the ships there, and then they had me jump out I got thrown out the window and land on top of a yellow cab. They had somebody else did the big fall, and then I had to drop about 4 feet onto the cab. Yeah, it was a good film. Well, look, thanks a lot for coming. I really appreciate it.